Thursday, June 23rd, 2016 special meeting for the purpose of end of the year closeout. Belinda, would you do the roll call this morning?
Mr. Alker? Dr. Duvall?
Here.
Ms. Flanagan? Ms. Maddox?
Here.
Mr. Milner?
Here.
Dr. Stanbaugh? And Mr. Zip?
Here.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda for today.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, please raise your hand. The first section of the agenda today is the consent agenda. And if there are any of those items that you would like to discuss or vote on separately, please let us know and we'll do it.
Move for approval of the consent agenda as presented. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Under the action agenda, the first item is the approval of estimated end of the year accounts payable. Yvonne.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have two major payroll obligations remaining to the end of the year: the June 30th payroll for all personnel and the extended payroll for July for employees who are on a 10-month contract. The July payroll is in June, run in June, but it's not distributed until July 31st. Also attached to the board packet was a listing of vendors with invoices received or anticipated totaling $15,000, and these vendors are included in the end of year accounts payable estimate. For accounting purposes, on obligations, both invoices and salaries paid during July and August will be recoded to the prior fiscal year. For example, summer school teachers working through late June, and many utility invoices will actually be paid after June 30th but posted back to this year. We estimate the end of year accounts payable to total $22,415,000, and the breakout for the cafeteria, schools, and grants is listed in the board packet. It's recommended that the identified obligations plus all other appropriate obligations be paid with FY 2016 funds.
Questions for Ms. Wilson? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the estimated end of year's account payable.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the estimated end of the year accounts payable. All in favor, please raise your hand. Ms. Wilson, also, I believe, award for RFP for employee benefits.
Yes, the school division and the county solicited proposals from vendors to establish a contract for employee benefits broker for health, dental, and long-term disability benefits and health insurance consulting services. Proposals were received from 5 vendors, and a committee conducted phone interviews with the top 2 vendors. The committee recommended Mark III as the vendor to provide employee benefits broker services for health, dental, and long-term disability benefits at a cost of $25,000 combined for both the schools and the county. This fee will be paid out of our self-insurance fund. It's recommended that RFP 16-05103-A175 for employee benefits broker services be awarded to Mark III.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded to award the RFP for employee benefits broker. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Dr. Cotton, I believe you've mentioned to us before that the self-insurance program has been a plus really for us.
Yes, we have not had to raise our rates for the past 2 years, and certainly it's recommended that we wait 3 years before we do anything with that fund, but we've had conversations about creating a wellness program and using those funds to help improve employee health over time so that we can continue to enjoy the lack of increases each year. So we'll keep you posted on that, but it's been very positive. So
And that's one of the things with Mark III, they have a team that does wellness programs. And they have a lot of experience in that area, so we're hoping they'll help us to set up something for our employees.
Any other questions or comments? The next item, Ms. Lawson, is approval of additional appropriation for the fiscal year 2016 school nutrition budget for the summer program.
Yes. School Nutrition, as of last week, was notified they received a $4,000 grant by Share Our Strength and the No Kid Hungry campaign for the summer meals program. These funds must be used to support the summer meal program. It's recommended that the school board approve an additional appropriation of $4,000 to the school nutrition budget for the summer meals program grant and forward the request to the Board of Supervisors.
You need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve this request as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the request for additional appropriation for the school nutrition program for the summer. All in favor, please raise your right hand. The next item on our agenda is the approval to purchase My Home at Digital Libraries. Dr. Scott?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We have a couple options here that we're looking at, and the reason that we've listed two options is pending available funds at the end of the year. But part of what we'll be talking a great deal about over the next few weeks is the importance of reading and students having access to reading materials of high interest areas that are aligned to their lifestyle, which really correlates to their reading level. So MyOn is a digital platform that provides students with access to a digital library where students can access online reading materials in areas of interest that are on their appropriate reading level. What Sandy Strayer likes to call it is a Netflix, if you will, for reading, where students can download these high interest books. And one of the things we know is the way we increase reading and we instill the value of reading in our children is providing them with access to lots of reading materials. So we feel very strongly that this is important. The other piece I'll mention to you is we are requiring that all students in elementary, middle, and ninth grade participate in silent sustained reading as a requirement to increase the amount of time students are reading, but also there's an accountability piece to that, where teachers are going to be conferencing with students on what they're reading and assessing them in key areas related to reading comprehension. So there'll be more discussion about that as we move forward, but reading is so important, and we feel like this will support our students in developing their reading skills.
How do we filter out what's inappropriate and make it accessible to the children?
Yes, that's already been taken care of as a part of what's available to students, because they're vetted already and they're approved for educational purposes. So the thing that you also need to pay attention to is sometimes students have a very high Lexile score, but the teacher also has to pay attention to what they're reading, and they need a conference with the students as they go through. For example, I don't know that a student should be reading a Stephen King book if they're in third grade, for example, but that's where the teacher comes in talking about what's appropriate, and the teachers have an active role in conferencing with the students. But my understanding is all of these have been vetted and they're appropriate for school use.
There's a way that teachers actually know, say it's required to do, so there's follow-up to ensure that it has been done. Is this a year-round thing or just summer?
Well, I'm glad you said that, because really the way that this works is students can download the books onto their device. And we have the one-to-one iPads in 3 through 8, and then of course we're expanding new tech programs at the high school level. But once the students download the books, or the teacher can even push the books to their devices, the students do not need internet access to read those books. So we're really interested in looking at using this to support our summer reading programs in the future. If we can get to the point where students can keep their device in the summer, we can make sure they're reading year-round. So that's part of the discussion.
Right now, they don't have access to the individual laptops during the summer.
They don't. We collect those in order to.
Refurbished.
I'm gonna look at my technology people because it makes them nervous when I say we want to have the students take these devices home because they need to refresh and update and inventory and all those wonderful things. But we are pushing year-round reading, and we have summer reading programs in place at all of our schools, and we're participating in a grade level reading campaign with our community. So we need to think outside the box, and what we know is students need access to materials. They need to read more, and what we find is if they're not reading at school, some of our students aren't reading at all. So we need to work to increase the amount of reading, because that's how you improve reading comprehension and fluency.
So the option that's selected will depend on the amount of money carried out.
It will. We would prefer K through 8, and in the K1-2, as a part of Daily 5, they're reading significantly already. That's built in. But we definitely need to increase the amount of time reading 3 through grade 9. The reason we're not including grade 9 is because we don't have one-to-one devices for grade 9, but that's certainly something that we'll have to look at in the future. So our priority would be K through 8. However, some would argue that if we could not afford to do that in middle school, would probably have to be the priority, because that's where we're finding our students are losing ground in reading, because they're just not reading enough at the middle school level.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of my own.
I make a motion to approve the purchase contingent on availability of carryover funds.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of my own, with consideration of the fact that we have the funds available at the end of the year. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Approval to purchase active panels. Mrs. Copenhagen.
Thank you, Madam Chairman and School Board. Previously, you approved the purchase of flat panels in May. However, upon research and much discussion by the administration, the decision was made to use the same style flat panels in the schools for uniformity and to increase the quantity of the boards to be ordered. And by going with this one vendor, because we do not have to purchase a yearly software update, we could save at least $244 per board. So we're recommending that the school board approve the purchase of up to 90 active panels from Power Up Ed. Prices quoted include installation and a 3-year warranty. And this is pending availability of year-end funding. And I'm referencing the RFP number 150133A147.
So moved. Understand any better?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the purchase of active panels. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Board members, I just want to point out that it's significant that the installation's included, because our facilities maintenance department has spent a lot of time installing, moving these around, also the savings. But as a reminder, we're making sure that all elementary and middle school classrooms have the active boards, or whatever we call them, smart boards, medium boards, right? New name, so that they all have these in their classroom. Before, they wrote grants, and some had them, some didn't. Now the expectation is everyone in elementary, middle will have one. And the reason this number is as it is we have some of the early boards that are no longer functioning because we started, how many years ago, Janet, was the first course? Probably, maybe 10 years ago?
10 years at least, and some of them are still installed.
So, so this will take care of that. And then we're going to reassess what we're going to do at the high school level. What we're thinking is the smart boards may not be the answer at high school. Maybe we need to look at TVs or flat panels and Apple TVs at the high school level. But we'll talk more about that as we move forward.
Just a quick question. Notice we're hiring quite a few new teachers. Are they taught this in their classes prior to coming here, or do we have to train them on the use of this?
Well, it's a little of both. We've noticed that some are, depending on their college or university, but others we have to work with them. That's why we assign them a mentor to work with them. They provide professional development at the school site. But what we've learned is they pick it up very quickly. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Yes. The students know how to use it, so they pick it up very quickly.
We've heard from some of our former students who have taken teacher prep courses and they've told us they've gone into classrooms where no one else knew how to use it. but they knew how to use it because they came through our school division and they used it on a regular basis. So that's been some good feedback.
Dr. Cotton, let me say, I hope on behalf of the whole board that we're very sad that today is I guess the final time Ms. Copenhagen will be coming before us to ask for money. Normally we don't like people asking, but for everything you've done for our system during those years with the technology, we appreciate that, and we will miss your presentations.
Thank you.
We are very sad that, well, we knew it was going to happen eventually, but we squeezed as many years out as we could, didn't we?
We did.
The next item on the agenda is the award of a contract to purchase additional surveillance equipment for various schools as part of the school security.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the school board. As part of the school security equipment grant, we were awarded, we had an opportunity to do an addendum with this grant for some additional surveillance equipment, which would include upgrade or replacement of certain cameras, some DVRs, monitors, etc. So a request for proposal was sent out asking firms to submit a proposal for this work. The committee interviewed all 3 firms that responded, and after the committee evaluated the proposals and the interview results, it's recommended that we award this work to Security Services of Glade Hill, Virginia, in the amount of not to exceed $90,000. And then, of course, the grant requires us to provide a 25% of the total cost. So it's recommended that the contract be awarded to Security Services, and that of course, the funding would be from the school security equipment grant with the match coming from our FY16 operations and maintenance budget.
Questions for Mr. Scott?
What all kinds of new stuff are we getting through this grant?
Well, a lot of it is, majority of it is just additional coverage. And so when you do some additional coverage, it requires to upgrade some of the DVRs that's out there, or maybe add an additional monitor. So it just helps us have a little more surveillance coverage throughout each school, or for the 12 schools that were part of this grant. So.
We don't presently have coverage of playgrounds at the elementary schools.
We do some, yes, sir, and this will help increase that coverage, yes, sir. We sure do. And it's kind of varying. We've looked at a lot of our elementaries as a focus on this to do some additional coverage with as well.
Other questions for Mr. Scott? I'll entertain a motion to award the contract for additional surveillance equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of additional surveillance equipment for various schools as part of the school security equipment grant. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Award of contract for purchasing furniture for Bengal Tech.
Yes, ma'am. Of course, as you know, the Bengal Tech Academy will open this fall, 2016. And, of course, it focuses on developing a culture which promotes trust, respect, and responsibility. So at the students and teachers, they work with as ownership, as learning experience in their school environment. And as you know, too, part of this whole learning environment is getting them ready for the professional work environment. So it's tailored right after that. And so it's exciting to see that we want that work environment to look like. And so you'll see furniture as a big part of that as well. And so with that being said, the construction of the Bingham Tech Academy purchasing new furniture is part of that. So Barrows Incorporated of Roanoke, Virginia, currently holds an existing RFP that allows us to piggyback for the purchasing this furniture, which would all be steel case furniture. And they provided a quote not to exceed $120,000 for furnishing Bingham Tech for this fall.
Move we approve the request for purchasing furniture for Benton Tech.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to award the contract for the purchase of furniture for Bingham Tech. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Is this the same, basically the same type of furniture as Warrior Tech?
Similar. There are some similarities to it, yes, sir. Obviously the Bingham Tech individuals are able to pick out their furniture, so there'll be some differences on the looks. It may not be the green chairs, it may not be the folded type tables, but as far as the way that they're able to move around and do some different collaboration, that part will be similar, yes, sir.
Have we received any information as to how the furniture at Warrior Tech is holding up?
I can speak for the fact that what we received as far as repairs go, and we may have received 3 or 4 work orders where the furniture has failed on us, may become apart, broken, or whatever. But all I do is make a call. Because of these great warranties a lot of these furniture companies have, they send a person down, they replace it, and there's no questions asked. So it's been really good benefit for that. And this steel case is providing a similar warranty with that too. So it'll be all that is what we look at when we're purchasing.
Very good.
And I'll just mention to the board members that depending on how far along we are with Bingham Tech, we are having convocation this year at Bassett this August, because we do have AC in the gym, so we're going to have our convocation at Bassett High School. And if we're far enough along at Bingham Tech, I'd like to try and schedule a tour so that you can get a chance to see where we are. So we might have to wear hard hats and things.
That's right.
Where we are. But I'd like for you to see where we are at that point. And you feel that things are moving along pretty well?
They are, yes, sir. Of course, the demolition, as we all mentioned, anybody can do a lot of demolition, and that runs pretty quick. But they are moving very good, and it's a good pace. I'm a little bit apprehensive to share timing at this point, but right now it's going well. They're going along very well. So.
The next item is the award of a contract for upgrading auditorium seating at the middle schools. Wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. As you know, the original late 1960s auditorium seating at Philadelphia Collinsville Middle School and Laurel Park Middle School is in poor condition and past due for an upgrade. Richmond Public Schools currently has a contract with Red Hill Distributors from Mount Olive, North Carolina, that would allow us to piggyback. And that RFP contract reference number is 14-6539-3 and 6539-A. And that's from Richmond Public Schools, excuse me. So Red Hill Distributors provided us a quote for installing the new auditorium seating at both middle schools, Philadelphia Collinsville in the amount of $121,258.60, and Laurel Park Middle in the amount of $122,454.80. So it's recommended that we award this contract to Red Hill Distributors for the total price of $243,713.40 to install the new auditorium seating, and of course that would be pending availability of funds left in the operations budget this year.
So moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to award the contract for upgrading auditorium seating at the middle schools. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
I noticed that Carver Elementary School, new seating was put in, and the aisles along the wall were eliminated. Looked like to me that would be a safety hazard. Is this something we're going to look at in the middle schools to make sure?
Yes.
Is this or is this not a safety hazard?
Well, it's a good question.
All the way down the aisle and the only way out is one way.
Right, good question. Typically, that was prior to me having this role, of
Right.
course, so I can't answer as far as the discussion that took place on it, but I know most of the time whenever we do any kind of renovation like that, we involve our public safety locally as far as, to make sure we have the right amount of egress available, in case there's a fire in the area and that type. So, typically, and they do inspections in our schools regularly, so if that was a problem, they would have brought that to our attention. But with these new middle schools, of course, it's a little bit, I think it's probably a little bit larger, maybe just a tad. So, that will definitely be looked at. We don't wanna, take a chance on missing anything as far as our egress, exiting goes. So we'll definitely look into that.
Did you say it's the original seating that's in there now?
It is, that's for the wood, the wood seats in there. That's great. Still in operation.
Surprised it's still there.
Yeah.
Lots of names carved on it.
That's right.
If there are no other questions for Mr. Scott, Mr. Book? Oh, I forgot to call. You got to call. I'll bring you that.
Good morning, Mr. Maddox and members of the board. As you know, the school system, we have a fleet of vehicles designated for trips for use by our school personnel. And at times, we have more than 4 people that need to go to a certain place. So we have purchased some couple of vans in the past, and they've really proven to be a big accent to us for carrying large groups of teachers and also for smaller groups of athletic teams. So another van would certainly be well received if it's approved. So I'm recommending that one pre-owned 6 to 8 passenger van be purchased for trip use from Basic Auto Sales of Richmond, Virginia, under state contract E194-72879 in the amount of up to $23,000, pending availability of year-end funding.
Is that different from these 9-passenger vans that it's safety?
Good question. We do the 7 to 8 passenger van. Now, at times, they have those 15 passenger vans, and we stay away from those just because of the safety concerns that they bring along with them.
Move the approval pending additional funds.
Been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of pre-owned passenger vans. If funds are available. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Approval to purchase 2 4-door sedans.
Yes, ma'am. As you know, we have a fleet of cars that are designed for trip use for our school personnel as well. All of these vehicles are 4-door sedans with the capacity to carry 4 people. As these vehicles are often used for extended trips, we need dependable vehicles for the employees to use. So it is recommended that 2 4-door sedans be purchased for trip use from Capital GMC Trucks, Capital Chevrolet Buick GMC, under state contract number E194-72765 in the amount of $35,890.
Move the approval, purchase of these pending additional funds. Emphasis on pending additional funds.
Yes, sir.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the purchase of 2 4-door sedans if funds are available. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Are there matters from the board that you would like to discuss?
Let me just ask a question here real quick. We've approved lots of things pending additional funds. Is there some way we will know what the additional funds were and how they were spent? assume there's some priority.
There's, and we can follow up on that, but all of these come from a list that we keep year-round that we develop with priority listing and rank order of one-time expenditures, and that's the key point here. These are one-time expenditures because from year to year, we do have savings at the end of the year based on various things. For example, we have substitutes filling in for teacher positions, or if we get additional reimbursement for E-rate or Medicaid that we weren't expecting, as well as various other sources, especially in the realm of salaries and so forth, for various reasons. So, but we can certainly keep you updated on what we actually do purchase. But we appreciate the latitude to make these decisions as we close out the year, because otherwise the opportunity will pass and we won't be able to make these one-time purchases if we don't get that approval. And that's why we have some flexibility built in. Anything you want to add? But we'll certainly make sure we follow up. We feel fairly confident that these things will happen based on our estimates. So, but we always put that language in there in case, and that's why we put up to a certain amount, because if we can't buy all the active boards that we would like to purchase, maybe we can get, 70 of them versus 90. But certainly we can follow up on that. But we're hopeful we can do everything we talked about today.
Are there matters from the board that you wish to discuss this morning?
Yes, one item, I think it was about a month ago, Dr. Cotton, you sent out a disparity report or something.
Disparity.
About localities, they're funding, and it's a lengthy document, you emailed it to us.
Yes.
It's a lengthy document, I had a chance to look at it a little bit, but at the next board meeting, can you or one of your staff just briefly summarize that?
Are you talking about the report that talks about the amount of funding that's
Yes.
received from the county?
Every jurisdiction in the state of Virginia and how we rank and so forth.
Yeah, we can do that. Is that something the board would be interested in?
Right.
I think so.
It was very lengthy and it would just make it a whole lot easier for me to understand it.
Yeah.
And
We
be
can
sure
look
the
at that.
press has got a copy of it, I mean.
It might be something the public's.
Pardon?
I could send it to me if you want to.
Right, well,
Yeah, if I can request it, we'll look at it. It may obviously not be ready to share in July, but maybe August would be
oh, that's fine.
more appropriate. But I'll talk with staff and we can certainly provide some highlights on that. Was that the one we received from the VEA, or was that the one? Okay. Was it from the state of the VEA? I don't remember, but we'll look at it. We'll
Right.
look into it. We'll be glad to do that.
Any other concerns?
We, Dr. Vulcan, our council attended a conference up in Charlottesville about Virginia being a high state as far as cases referred to police. And one of the things that they pushed is very important was a memorandum of understanding. Have he and Mr. Lyle had a chance to talk with you on that yet? Do we have a memorandum of understanding that's been updated?
Yes, we've had a memorandum of understanding in place since we started working with the sheriff's office. We have an MOU for all of our SROs, and that's something that we review each year, and we actually review, see Troy in the back, we actually review that this year. But what we anticipate is that we're going to get some additional guidelines from the state based on what you just described. So we understand that we're probably going to get more direction or some additional guidelines in relation to that. But we've also made sure that we provided professional development to our administrators, making sure they're clear on when to include law enforcement with certain circumstances, and not in Henry County necessarily, but in other school divisions, sometimes law enforcement gets involved when they don't need to be involved. So we've just made it very clear on when law enforcement should be involved in these cases. And generally, what that is when it's a legal matter, obviously, they have to be involved. But there'll be more coming on that. We're still waiting to, you haven't gotten any more information, have you?
I sent ours in, the memorandum of understanding, I sent them into DCJS, and they were supposed to send something back, but I haven't heard anything.
You're waiting on getting feedback?
Yeah.
But we're still waiting to get some direction, but I'm sure it's coming because of what you just described and where we are nationwide with law enforcement cases and stuff.
I'm glad we have that in place because, as Mr. Miller mentioned, there was indication that there were several school districts that did not have things in place, agreements, and it resulted in problems specifically.
Yeah, and I have to say, we've got a great working relationship, and kudos to Troy there. He just came to our administrative retreat and helped us with our crisis training for our principals. So and you provided training for all teachers at our teaching and learning conference on gang awareness, and so we've got a great relationship with the Sheriff's Office.
I would remind you of certain meeting dates. The July board meeting will not be the first Thursday, but the second Thursday. Because I guess first Thursday is vacation. And also the school board planning meeting is scheduled for the 28th of July. And I believe that the latest memo from Dr. Cotton indicated he needs to know if you're going to be there and if you have anything you want particularly want to be discussed at that issue, so he can prepare the agenda. And the conference coming up is the conference on education, and it will be in July on the 16th. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session where we will be discussing the appointment and separation of personnel and evaluation of the superintendent.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to go into closed session to discuss the appointments and separation of personnel and evaluation of the superintendent. All in favor, please raise your right hand. I'll entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to return to regular session. Mrs. Everby, would you do the certification?
No, second.
No, okay.
I think we all.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that
sure
is.
we won't.
See, we're all frozen. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Now, Ms. Evans.
Whereas the school board of Henry County has convened a closed meeting on this day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. Whereas Section 2.2-3712.2 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting is conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be resolved that the school board of Henry County hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Dr. DeVault?
Yes.
Ms. Maddox?
Yes.
Mr. Milner?
Yes.
And Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. We do have one motion coming out of closed session today. Dr. DeVault?
Madam Chairman, I advance the motion that the personnel report as presented be approved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the personnel report as presented. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Miller, what do you think? I don't want to go.
Okay.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, please raise your right hand. We got it. We got it.